And we are live. Hi, good evening, everyone. Welcome to She Built It, Boss Lady Chronicles. I am Sharita Gaskins Tillett. I am your host, and this is the show where we feature women who have dared their fears and built their dreams. And this show is meant to inspire all women so that they can see that these everyday women that they will be meeting on this show are just like them, and that they can dare their fears and live their dream life as well. I just want to give a couple of minutes for people to log on. If you're watching us live, please say hi in the comments. Let us know where you're watching from. If you're watching the replay, hashtag replay. If you have questions for our guest, please put your questions in the comments. Even if you're watching the replay, leave your questions. I'm happy to forward those questions along. So let's jump right in. So tonight I have joining me Dr. Valerie Mukanga. She graduated from Tulane University with a BS in cell and molecular biology. She received her doctorate of dental surgery at the University of Tennessee Health and Science Center in Memphis, Tennessee. Following her graduation, she completed a general practice residency program at Bronx Lebanon Hospital in New York City before moving to Texas, where she has been practicing dentistry. Dr. Mukanga is the founder and CEO of Healing Wings Dental, located in Arlington, Texas. Born in Brussels, Belgium, raised in Africa, and having lived more than half her life in the United States, Dr. Mukanga is well equipped to provide dental care to people of various backgrounds. She helps patients maintain and attain optimal dental health and smiles. At the heart of Dr. Mukanga's practice is her desire for not only relieving the physical pain of her patients, but also help them regain their confidence with the impact restoring beautiful smiles can bring. For Dr. Mukanga, dentistry is not an option, it is a mission. And she has been recognized as one of the top doctors by Marquis Who's Who. She has also been recognized as a top general dentist by Find a Top Doc. Further, she was selected and figures as a member of the nationwide registry's Women of Distinction Honors Edition. Welcome, Dr. Valerie.
Thank you so much, Dr. Sharita, for having me.
I'm happy to have you here this evening and excited to hear about your journey. So, tell us, you have a really interesting background, very international background. So, tell us some about you. How did you come to be a dentist? What kinds of obstacles did you encounter along the way? Take us down that road.
Oh, okay. So, what made me decide to do dentistry, or how did I come to become a dentist? When I was young, growing up, I always wanted to be a doctor. I thought I was going to end up being a physician. That's what my aim was, and even coming in this country. But while I was at Tulane University, we had an advisor that discouraged my friend and I from pursuing dentistry, saying that it would be hard for a foreigner. And they completely discouraged us and encouraged us to go for something else. So at that point, I was completely lost. And I finished graduating with my bachelor's really later on that as I was just walking, going to the library, I just sort of like had this sounding voice within myself, stating dentistry. And so I was like, okay, that's interesting. And I had to now go and research, why dentistry, because obviously I could not just, on my application asking, when we were asked, why did you want to become, or when did you want to become a dentist, say I had an inner voice.
Yes.
I heard something on the inside telling me dentistry. So I had to kind of like research and do some research. And then I realized that honestly, within my family, there were a lot of people that went through some dental issues. I always state, one of my aunts who had suffered from bad breath or halitosis. So she was really self-conscious to be in public. She would always cover her mouth, when we were talking, even just among ourselves within the family. Also, I had other people having problems, even myself. When I was about 15 years old, I lost a front tooth, and it's only when I was about to leave the US that my parents were able to get me, or actually ended up getting me to a dentist, and I ended up having a dental bridge. So I know what it's like to go through dental trauma or dental problems. So I can relate. But also another thing that really made me realize that it was important was that whenever I would speak to people, especially in English. In fact, I would always read lips. So I would
Mhm.
always notice, when somebody had issues, I just didn't know that I was wired for it. And then the last straw was really that there's one of my uncle, my mom's brother, who passed away because he had cavities and ended up having an infection. Went to a
Wow.
dentist, and he that very day he passed from a stroke. And I didn't know that that was like something that could actually happen. But those are some of like the things that wired me to pursue a career in dentistry. Yeah.
So how long did it take to become a dentist?
So dentistry is after your bachelor program, it's a 4-year program after that.
Okay.
Hmm.
And so the name of this show is She Built It, Boss Lady Chronicles. When I say boss lady, what do you think? What does that bring to mind for you?
To me, a boss lady is someone that has a vision that she needs to be able to establish, but not only establish, but be able to share the vision with others that can kind of like run with that vision and make it become, something that's palpable or tangible or effective in action. So that's what I see. It's somebody that is able to um, make a vision happen, but also like instill it in others so that they can run together with the vision. It's like being a leader, but also someone that's able to and that's able to delegate and have other people strive within the same vision. That's kind of what I think when I think about a boss lady, not somebody that wants to boss people around.
Yes, yes. So now you own your own practice. Has
Mhm.
that always been the case, or were you an employed dentist prior?
Oh no, I was an employed dentist for many years. So I graduated 2011. Then I went into pursuing a resident. I did a residency program for a year, and so when I was done in 2012, I worked until 2016. I was employed, and even though I wasn't employed afterwards, I was still temping, going to different offices while I had my office. I was still temping, going to replace doctors who couldn't be there. Maybe somebody had to deliver or could not make it. I would be replacing doctors. So yeah, I would. Yeah, I was employed for a while.
So tell me about the transition from employed physician to practice owner, because I know a lot had to go on in there.
A lot. It's not a transition that's easy. I unfortunately was naive enough to think that it was just going to be smooth sailing. The reason being that whenever I came about, establishing the business, it seemed like the vision was going like a ball, going really fast as far as like, creating the space and all the construction. It's almost like I had to run after this ball and, keep up after how fast it was going. So I thought that it was just going to be like that. Once we opened, that patient would just soon be running in through our doors. And yeah, no. So after we actually opened the door, that's when, trials really started as far as, staying the course, because it's not easy to to be an entrepreneur, to have, a practice and have a practice that is on its way to be thriving. It's something that you really have to learn how to gird up and overcome challenges as they come in, and just keep moving with the punches.
So what made you make this transition?
Oh yeah. So being employed, and I'm not sure if it applies to you as well, but while I was working in other facilities, one of the challenges for many of the offices was that the owner would have their own vision. And
Mm,
many times, you know, our vision did not necessarily line up. In which sense? Um, some of these offices where I worked had were like chains, and so, you know, it's kind of like what people complain about when they go to the hospital, where they feel like they're not seen. They feel like
yeah.
they're just another number. And that's not how I want to treat my patient. I really want to treat my patients as family members, as I would treat my parents, for example, my brothers. So that being said, you know, they would really be about the number, be about, you know, you didn't do it quick enough, or why didn't you do this? They would sometimes micromanage the doctor. Why didn't you do this instead of, why did you do this instead of that? And question that, you know, and so you know that you're doing the right thing. And at the end of the day, it's my license on the line. So I have to
Yeah.
see and diagnose and treat patients according to the way that I see fit, according to my diagnosis. And also, I want to be able to give the patient the time, you know, to express themselves, listen to them, because it now feels like a lot of people, you know, when you come in, it's like, I hate the dentist. Like we hear that more times than not,
Yes, I'm sure
you
you
know.
do.
And so yes, we know. And often, you know, I kind of break the ice to be like, yeah, but I know that you don't hate me, things like that, you know.
Yeah.
And I know it's not about you. And so it's like many people like have a lot of anxiety, and sometimes just being able to listen to the patient, it kind of melt things down for them and establish this trust bond, whereby, you know, shortly after that they are able to, you know, even come on their own and not be so stressed out. So to me, it was very important to give them time to, you know, express themselves and give them some time, talk to them, listen to them, compliment them. But sometimes working for someone else, you don't have room for that.
Right, right. So what gave you the courage to start your own practice? Have you ever owned a business? Did your family own businesses? Had you seen that done before?
I had seen that done before. Um, I saw members of my family having businesses, but again, I also saw members of family having businesses that crashed. But with me, I knew that, you know, I just trusted the process, and also I had I have a very good I have very good mentors, and, you know, a support system that whenever I, you know, feel like it's so hard, I have people to lean on that would
Mm.
keep encouraging me. And besides that, also, like, you know, prayer, meditation also, you know, got me down to where I just knew that, you know, it's something that's possible. And also, like, if people thrive, then why not me? I'm
Yes.
able to do it, because the people who are doing it, they don't have four heads. We all have one head, one brain. You know, if you stay the course, you can make it. So I just knew that it was a matter of, you know, keeping on, and just keep walking, but also falling on the support system when you feel like you're about to faint.
Okay, so now these sound like real boss lady moves. So I want to know, were you born a boss or did you have to develop these characteristics?
That's a very good question. Because I think that so I used to be very, very shy. Like I wasn't as open as I am right now. And I am kind of strange, because though I'm an introvert, depending on the situation, I took a test, you know, a personality test, and it revealed that I was an introvert and an extrovert. So almost 50-50, kind of
Oh,
like neck
wow.
and neck. And that's not really usual. And I was always wondering, why is it that sometimes I really want to talk, and then all of a sudden I just really want to just be on my own. And so I came to understand that. But I think that with me having been timid for a big part of my life, I feel like I became a boss lady. But deep down inside, also, I feel like, you know, I had that within me, because I do believe that you are gifted with what, you know, you with who you are to be, though you
Yes.
have to nurture it. So it's kind of like nature versus nurture. So it's kind of both, I think. But I think I had to work a lot on nurturing that what was inside. So
Yeah, I heard
mostly I became.
it. Okay. I heard an interesting analogy like about that today. They likened us and people that have dreams to being like a seed that's planted in the ground. That
Mm,
everything that you need, everything that that seed needs to become the plant that it will be and bear the fruit that it will bear, lies within it. But it
mm,
does have to be nurtured and watered and taken care of in
mm,
order to grow and to bloom. So
mhm.
I think it's so it made me think about that analogy that I heard earlier today.
I think it's
So
accurate. I never thought about it that way, actually.
yeah, I hadn't either. So what has been your biggest challenge so far? Well, what, did you encounter challenges as you were going into the practices? It sounded like that went rather smoothly, but then once you got to the practice, then there were the challenges. So what were the challenges and how did you overcome them?
Okay, so some of the challenges that I had was Dr. Sharita, is that I was so shy. And to me, I had wrongly assumed that people would just like see the sign and all of a sudden just know that we're here and
Yeah.
just run to us. That was very, very naive, right? And so if I have to like, coach people, I'll be like, no. I was not very big on marketing. So that really cost me a lot. And in fact, like me being black at that time, I felt like if I even put my picture or my
Mm,
image on our website or anything, people would be deterred from coming. They'll be like, "Oh no, we're not going there." I felt like racism is so alive that basically it would play against me. And it's so funny. I'll make you laugh because one day when I spoke about this years later to my younger brother Eve, and I told him about that, and he said, "Well, but Valerie, like, what do you think when people see your name?" And I was like,
so
"Oh."
you know what, Valerie, I'm gonna be honest, that was exactly what I was thinking.
I was never thinking that. I was like, oh no, I don't want them to know. But it's like, just by your name, more times than not, they would already assume that you're African, of African descent. So it took me years. And also, even I am a part of the Entre MD Business School. And with that, just like being with other people who are like minded, it helped me to understand that. Marketing is very, very essential if you want to thrive. And honestly, like, nobody is even looking at the fact that, nobody expects you to be of a certain race or of a certain necessarily like gender before they come to you. They just want to know that you do have the expertise to help them, solve their problems. And so now, even with a book that I read, that says, somebody that has a business or a vision is like somebody that has a light. And that light, if you put it under a bed or even under a table, many people cannot, see the light. And that's also like stemming from the Bible. And so it's like, if you hide, people are not going to know that you are there. They're looking for you to help them, but you're hiding. And not only are they suffering, but you also suffering because
Yes.
your vision is not able to bloom. So understanding that, marketing is essential. And now my face is like, it's in places.
Yeah.
And so now understand, like, marketing really, understanding now that marketing is essential, and even on social media, it has helped me a lot and make me come out of my shell. And so that was like one of the challenges, because the main challenge that we faced for many years was to have enough patients coming through the doors.
And now that's not no longer the case.
Oh, it's improving. It's improving for sure. Some days, we don't have room enough, and then obviously some days, depending on the season, there are less people coming in. Maybe like children have to go to school, or things like that. Children have exam. Parents can come or can bring their kids. Yeah, but other than that, yeah, it's much, much, much better.
So who has been the biggest influence on your life thus far?
Okay, uh, I would say my parents and also my spiritual leaders has really impacted me a whole lot.
And
Yes.
how so? In what ways?
So, first of all, My parents, um I, my parents have studied. Like my dad has a doctorate degree, his PhD. My mom did nursing, so they are all into, education. That helped me in that sense. And then just, to have something to ascribe to, something to look up to, knowing that, okay, if they have succeeded and they've always, pushed us forward. We in my family were blessed to have parents that were able to contribute to our education. That's not the case for many people. Many
Right.
people have to strive, they have to look on their own, they have to pay for their own school. When I came in this country, my dad was working for Tulane University, and which is the reason why I went to Tulane. My tuition was paid for as far as undergraduate was concerned. So in that, they helped me a lot, and they were always like stressing on education. And obviously, without education, I could not be a dentist. Then my spiritual leaders would be like just instilling this whole knowledge that I am enough, I'm capable of doing this, and God is on my side and all of that. So, yeah.
Yeah. So it sounds like your self-image plays pretty heavily
Mhm.
in your ability to overcome your natural tendencies toward shyness and introversion to pursuing your dreams. Is that accurate?
Accurate. Absolutely. Absolutely.
So then what do you do to maintain your image? What kinds of things do you do to kind of pour into yourself, fortify yourself so that you can keep going and maybe dream bigger dreams and bigger goals?
Okay. Um, there are many things that I do. One of them to me is prayer, and also being a Christian, meditating the Word of God, because I believe that that shows me who I am, who I am to be. And there's so many good examples in the Bible of, people who have overcome different situations just the way I have. Besides that, it's also leaning on my community or my support system. And I come to have, many types of support systems as well. So some of them are some one of the support system would be like with my spiritual father, for example, whom I always have available to bounce ideas back. And the good thing about that spiritual leader that I'm talking about is that he's also a PhD. So,
Mm.
he's not just like he's able to associate not only the Bible, but also real life.
Sure.
Um, and even in the area where I am. So that helps me a lot. And then another one would be like the Entre MD, a business school, for example, where I will be like with other like-minded doctors. And I get to hear how, other people are experiencing difficulties and how they overcome them. And also like when you see someone ahead of you, because obviously there are some people who have done way more than you have, and some people also who you have done more than they have. So, it gives you are able to pull people forward and also to be pulled forward as well. So that helps me a lot, because with that, it's just being around people who are thinking like me, who have challenges like me, and they are also doctors. If you see that, some of them, as far as business, you would think that you're the only one who are facing challenges, or
Yeah.
you're the only one who are facing fears, but realize that no, it's just something that is common to men, and
Yeah.
you move through that. It helps to be able to see people. Besides that, it's also things like trying to sleep enough, or like taking care of yourself, like taking yourself out, maybe like to eat or just hang out with friends. And yeah, so many different things too that helps me just stay level headed.
Yeah, I agree. I think community, I always say community is everything.
Hmm.
And I know for myself that for a long time, I'm also an introvert, and I call myself an introverted introvert. So there is no extrovert in me. Um, so you got the 50%. I don't have that. I'm an introverted introvert. And for me, I tried to do things alone for a really long time. and
Mhm.
it was hard. And you're right, it feels like you're the only one who has that struggle.
Mhm.
But once I found my tribe, I found my community, it changed everything.
Everything. Yeah.
Because you're right, you see other people doing things, and also the thing that really struck me the most about it was having people that I admired
Mhm.
express their fears and
Right.
insecurities and talk about their struggles. And these are people that you see and they're like rock stars. You're like, wait a minute,
Exactly.
wait a minute, wait a minute, rock stars are afraid, rock stars have problems. They sound like what's going on in my head. So
Mhm.
if they can do it, I can do it too.
I feel the same way you feel as well. This is
Yeah,
true.
yeah. And so, what would you say to someone who wants to follow in your footsteps? If they're interested in dentistry or they're interested in entrepreneurship, what would you say to them? Like, how would you encourage them to prepare?
So I would tell them, first of all, it takes being level headed and also having excelling at education. So while you're going to school, this I'm speaking for somebody who's maybe like at the high school level, um, make sure that you take your classes very seriously. You want to do the best you can because you don't want, to shoot yourself on the foot because you were distracted, maybe with your friends or things like that. And so while you're in school, make sure that you are studying the right way. One of the things that I had challenges with when I was in college, and I had to repeat one semester because the way I was studying is I wanted to learn and know everything about like the minute details. And then
Mm,
after that, I realized no, I need to understand even the psychology of the teacher, the professor teaching the course. What do they expect me to know? Because at the end of the day, once I pass everything, I will know what there is to know. I'm really truly not going to use every single thing that we are taught, in school. Like I'm always giving the example of like histology class, for example, unless you're a pathologist, really.
right.
I mean, you're not going to be like, I'm looking at someone's mouth, or teeth. I'm not like going to be looking at, that particular cell. What does the dentin or enamel looks like on a slide? That's not, but I need to know that in order to, achieve what or become what I want to become. So learn what it is that that particular professor wants me to know, excel at that, and eventually, when you're done, if you just feel like, studying for the sake of studying or knowing everything, you always have a lifetime to do that.
Yes.
So really be very strategic about, be very focused and strategic about how you're going to be studying, and also surround yourself with people who are also trying to achieve the same thing, so that how you were saying that you were doing things alone. Initially, before that, I was studying by myself, but after that happened to me, I went into studying with some groups. I was doing both. I was studying with groups because sometimes someone not understanding something, and sometimes if you do understand that thing and you explain it to someone, you get to
Yes.
master it
Yes.
better. But also sometimes there might be a question that somebody doesn't understand and you didn't even realize you didn't understand. And when you're there, when the explanation is given, all of a sudden it becomes etched in you. But also, even just like fostering that community, even after you're done, it's all about connections, right? So being connected with others, can always propel you in life. For example, the way I got the first job the first employment as a dentist that I got here in Texas when I came after my residency program. It was with coming from one of my friends, one of my classmates, who had to now go and do a specialty, and she had to leave that place, and so she wanted to find, because it was going to be before the end of her contract. She found me, and so she was able to leave freely and I was able to get in freely. So keep connection with people. You're never going to be able to strive or to arrive wherever you want to arrive on your own. You will always need people, and many people want to be so independent, but we are always interdependent. Those are
Yes.
some of the things that I can advise someone. Yeah.
So I'm intrigued by your practice name, Healing Wings Dentistry. Tell me about that. How did you come to choose that name and what does it mean to you?
So it actually it comes from a Bible verse that's in Malachi 4:2, and it says, "For those who fear the Lord, the Son of Man, the Son of righteousness will come with healing under His wings."
Mm,
And I really love that because I feel like we are providing healing, healing, and with the wings, I see it as being able to allow people to fly, to attain whatever heights they want to attain in life. There are many people who suffer from dental problems. Maybe they
yeah.
have missed a tooth, they have lost a tooth, or maybe they have bad breath, or maybe they have, TMJ problems. And so they're not able to achieve what they need to do. There are many people, maybe say somebody has lost a tooth, and many people come and they say, "Oh, doctor, I really need this to be fixed because I work in the front desk, or I need to get a job." And, you know, they don't really feel confident because
Right.
they don't like their smile, or many people shrink back. So this is where, we are. And it's not only like dental healing, but as I was talking to you about anxiety, there's some people who
Mhm.
went through traumatic situation, or, they have been traumatized in the past, maybe when they were a kid, or maybe because they heard a story about somebody that went through a difficult dental procedures. Just being able to listen to the people, it just provides all this healing. Yeah.
So when patients come to you, what do you want them to feel? What's the experience you're trying to give?
I want them to feel like, they have found a family. I want
Mhm.
them to feel respected, cared for, cherished, and loved. That's what I want them to feel like. I want them, this environment, and even when if people are to read our Google reviews, many people are saying they really treated me well. They made me feel comfortable. I want people to feel comfortable, to feel at ease and at peace, because they already hate the dentist. Can we change the narrative in that sense?
Yeah.
I want them to feel like they belong, and they're not judged or looked down upon because maybe for many years they did not go see a dentist because they were scared, or yeah, that's what I want them to feel like.
So this seems like the perfect segue to tell people if they're interested in finding a dentist that is also like family, that makes them feel seen and heard and appreciated and nurtured. How can they find you? Where can they connect with you?
They can definitely call us. We are Healing Wings Dental. We are located in Arlington, Texas. Our address is 4101 West Green Oaks Boulevard in Arlington, as I said, and our zip code is 76016. They can also give us a call at 972-213-0202. We are taking new patients, and it doesn't take forever to get an appointment. Also, on our website, they can request an appointment at www.healingwingsdental.com, or they can also find us on our different social media handles: Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn, Healing Wings Dental. If they type that up, they'll find us.
Wonderful. And we will put links to all of those places in the comments for this episode.
Thank
So
you.
where do you see the practice going? Or actually not necessarily the practice, because maybe you have a different dream. So where do you see your life in 5 years?
In 5 years. So it's practice related and also myself. Honestly, I've always wanted to be able to do dental missions. So
Hmm.
in 5 years, I would have already established Healing Wings Mission, which is the nonprofit side of things, where I would love to go to places where people who are not able to afford dental treatment. We can go and help them, and I'm not limited to any continent, whether it be Asia or Europe or Africa. Yes, I'm willing to go. Even in the US, there's so many people who are underserved, who maybe don't have insurance, can't afford it, don't have a dentist within, a reaching, within that they can reach easily. I want to be able to do that. So I would like for, the practice to grow enough where we are able to get other doctors, and then, wherever people need our help, we can go and be of rescue to people.
I love that. That's a beautiful goal, and I have no doubt that you will achieve it for sure
Thank
because
you.
it's a heart thing. It
Yeah.
certainly sounds like a mission and a calling for you.
Thank
And
you.
it's great to talk to someone who is following following their heart, walking in their purpose. So
Hmm.
I appreciate you coming on tonight. Are there any last things that you would like to share with the audience, just about your journey, a word of encouragement for other women maybe who are feeling like they'd like to start a business but they don't know where to begin? What kind of advice would you give?
I would say, if you have a dream, oftentimes or many times people who are successful, they're not afraid to help others also achieve their dreams. So if you have a dream, you can locate or find some people who have done it. You can shadow them, you can ask them to mentor you and see how they are doing things. Just because you're a woman does not mean, I mean, we have as women been made to feel that we, you know, are not good enough, or we're not going to be able to make it because, or we will experience a lot of challenges because we are women. But if you look at things, especially when it comes to maybe like, I say African American, for example, when you look at schools or in education, there are a lot of women, who are able to excel. So don't look at the fact that you're a woman as something that is a that can block you or prevent you from accomplishing what you want to do. If you have a vision in your heart, just run for it, go for it. Look for people who can help you, assist you. Read, or even with Google, there's so many information that you can
Yes.
get, and obtain in order to pursue your dream. You have, you are called, for this, and for such a time as this, as for example Esther was told by in the Bible. And so you can do it. Don't look at yourself as lesser than. You have everything, you know it takes within you to be able to accomplish those things. So don't be afraid. And if you are afraid, go for it. Even afraid, you will see that,
Yeah.
it gets better as you go. It
It
gets
does.
better
It
as you
does.
go.
Just start. Start
Mhm.
somewhere and trust that everything you need is inside of you. I
Yes.
love it. Well,
And
thank you so much.
another
Oh, go
thing,
ahead. No, go ahead.
that I wanted to talk about, or to mention, is about where I am, right? As far as oral health is concerned. Many people think about, their health, but many people don't really think about oral health. And as I was
Mhm.
talking about the story of my uncle, those are not situations that happen all the time, but I'm really here like to sound the alarm as far as like the fact that not taking care of your oral hygiene, of having poor oral health can adversely affect the rest of your body and your life. And it can end up being so much more costly. It's better to prevent things than to treat things. But if you have to treat things, go ahead and go for it, before it turns, to the worst. People can actually, have a stroke or even have a heart attack. It doesn't happen all the time, but it can. And so, you know, if you are that person who is anxious, just try to overcome your fear. Oral health is very, very important, and it can really, really improve your life. And, that's kind of like the message I wanted to add
Please, please.
to being a boss lady.
No,
Don't just
absolutely,
do oral health.
absolutely. You're looking out for the others, and I I appreciate that. And you're right, it is an often overlooked aspect to our health. I know as an OBGYN, that's one of the first things that we ask when women come in and they're newly pregnant. When have you last seen a dentist?
Mm-hmm.
Because, having oral health problems can cause preterm labor and can
Correct.
cause, in sepsis, infection throughout your whole body. So you're
Mhm.
right. People do often underestimate,
Mhm.
the impact that that can have.
Mhm.
And then I guess a follow-up question in that vein, do you think that, I know you mentioned anxiety and fear around seeing the dentist. Do you think that economics play a role as well? I mean, I say that because I know of some older family members that I had, and I asked them, about teeth. They didn't have teeth. Why don't you have teeth? And they said teeth cost too much money. So, so tell me, tell me how you think economics maybe play a role in that.
I think that it absolutely plays a role in that, which is the reason why when you look at, statistics, people who are not as wealthy tend to have, more dental problems. In fact, people who are not as wealthy tend to lose a lot more teeth. If you look maybe at a homeless population, for example, I don't know, I can't say I don't know. I think it's worldwide. You will see that a lot of them might not have some teeth because they couldn't afford to save them, which is the reason why, it's much easier to make sure you take good care of your oral hygiene. Because at that point, what does that cost you? A toothbrush, toothpaste, floss, and also maybe like going to visit the dentist. But like if you if finances is a challenge for you, there's also programs like Medicaid or maybe Medicare that you could possibly benefit from. And you can see like a dentist who do take those insurances, so that you, and even if you don't, there are also different nonprofit organizations who are able to help people for free. So, kind of like try to research that, but for sure, you know, finances does play a big role. And also, if you know that you're going to go to the dentist and because you let things go for a while and then your treatment plan is costing you so much, it's going to cause you to want to shrivel back, and yes, you end up losing teeth that you could have saved otherwise.
Yeah, and I know
So
here in
yes.
this area too, I think people also can go to the dental school. I'm in
Yes.
I'm in Maryland. I know that I've heard of people going to the dental school.
Yes, even as a matter of fact, when we were in dental school, we were seeing patients. They would have to pay something still, but it's not as much, maybe as if they went to a regular private practice.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, thank you again, Dr. Valerie. It's been a pleasure talking with you. I wish you much success. Like I said, it's really refreshing to talk to someone who is on a mission and living in their purpose. And I can definitely see the mission work coming down the road.
Thank you so much.
So thank you all for joining us this evening. Like I said, if you have questions for Dr. Valerie, you can put them in the comments. I will get them to her. If you're in the Arlington, Texas area, definitely check her out. She is a phenomenal top doc. And we will see you all next week. If you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Take care. Have a wonderful night.